we're going to talk, obviously, about Mamdani.
We're going to begin with
Mamdani closing in Cuomo's lead in New York City mayor's race, says new Marist poll. However, the poll also shows, like, I think the poll also shows there is a big gap still. It's a little concerning. It makes me a little worried. But it's good to maintain revolutionary optimism in this circumstance. Let's take a look.
the race for New York City mayor, and Zohran Mamdani is closing the gap with former Governor Andrew Cuomo for the top spot 6 days before the primary. Mamdani is now within 11 points of Cuomo in a new Marist poll, but with
That's the first round. That's the first round without ranked choice
voting and no one with the majority of votes, the race becomes a lot more complicated. Eyewitness News reporter NJ Burkett is live in Lower Manhattan with our lead story tonight. NJ.
Right, Liz, outside a polling place here on Greenwich Street in Lower Manhattan. You know, more than 130,000 people have voted in the election so far citywide. And as you know, Andrew Cuomo has been the front runner from the moment he entered the race. But as you said, his numbers are flat, and Mamdani has cut his lead in half.
The poll predicts that Andrew Cuomo will win, but he'll have to hold off a surging Zohran Mamdani.
We continue to be within 10 points. We continue to be on the verge of a single-digit race.
The 33-year-old socialist assemblyman from Queens is closing the gap. In a poll of likely Democratic primary voters, none of the candidates has the 50% needed to win outright. Andrew Cuomo is first with 38%, followed by Mamdani with 27%, and Comptroller Brad Lander and Council Speaker Adrienne Adams each with 7%. 11% are undecided. The poll predicts that Cuomo beats Mamdani in the 7th round, 55% to 45%. Lee Miringoff conducted the poll for the Marist Institute.
Cuomo is in front, but it's not a solid, locked-in kind of number for him.
Voters were also asked whether the city's next mayor should oppose President Trump. 72% said yes, 26% preferred compromising with the administration. All of the Democratic candidates are vowing to push back. Lander with his arrest.
What New York City needs right now is a mayor, is a leader who will stand up and protect New Yorkers.
Cuomo with his TV ads.
Trump's coming for New York. Who do you think can...
I got hopium for you. Polls were wrong about Eric Adams' win by 9.5%. Turnout is nearly double from last year's with early voting numbers. The polls conducted aren't contacting Muslim voters over 45, who he's been doing hella outreach with. Most important, we need more people to knock on doors for get out the vote. Abso-fucking-lutely. Oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, baby. If Mamdani doesn't win, I'm not sure the American public can be saved because you can't run a race better than him. I'm going to be honest with you. Even if he wins, I don't know if the American public can be saved, but at least he's a beacon of hope. A really necessary hope. Like, allow me to put my lib cap on for a brief moment and say that even if you are a liberal right now and you're scared of socialism, scared of like the scary brown guy, you can't deny that he is exactly the momentum that the Democratic Party needs. A real fighter who is young, who is charismatic, who is going to actually routinely make a big fuss about Donald Trump. He's going to do right by his constituents. He's not going to be beholden to corporate interests. This is exactly the type of guy you need. It doesn't always have to be a fucking white dude, okay? I know many liberals are so used to voting for the same names that they've seen over and over again, and they think that spells stability, and stability is what we need right now. But Zohran Mamdani is exactly the type of candidate that represents broad, popular ideas that you all want implemented. And while he's young, okay, his lack of experience means that he is less corrupted by the very same forces that cause you to vote for these old fucking douchebags who don't do anything for you and have calcified their support in their real corporate benefactors who only defend their real constituents, not you, not the average voter, but instead the real estate lobby and all these other special interest groups, whether it be DoorDash or numerous other expensive campaign contributors. Okay. It's also obviously insane that there are New Yorkers out there who would rather vote for a fucking cop rapist. Okay. Like Mr. Cop Diddler, Mr. Cop Fondler, Andrew fucking Cuomo. Just because you know his last name, just because you recognize his last name doesn't mean that like he is the right guy for this moment. Every single aspect of New York City existence that has devolved in the last 2 decades is directly a consequence of Andrew Cuomo's leadership when he was the governor. Okay? And now, in an effort to continue that reign of corporate interest, people like Michael Bloomberg are pouring in millions of dollars into the race. Michael Bloomberg personally has dumped $8.5 million. Andrew Cuomo gets support from a lot of these fucking pig unions, or at least the union leadership, but the rank and file is not with Andrew Cuomo. Because the rank and file understands that Andrew Cuomo is also anti-union. He has already destroyed New York politics and made New York Republicans significantly more powerful in the state so that he could maintain his grip of power. He is exactly the kind of corrupt pervert that has ruined the lives of regular New Yorkers. He is everything that's wrong with New York politics. He's everything that's wrong with the Democratic Party. His attitude is precisely the reason why you have tremendous resentment right now at this very moment towards the feckless ineptitude that you see from the Democrats. You need a guy like Zohran. You need a guy like Zohran. You need a fighter. And my God, are they doing everything they can now in the last round because he's become a real threat to the established order and the comfortable corruption that they want in business as usual politics, that they're trying to rat fuck him as aggressively as possible. And in the process of doing that, they've opened up an unlimited money faucet, and they're attacking him, claiming he is an anti-Semite once again. I said this yesterday. The concerted effort to spam the airwaves with anti-Semitism smears against Zohran is a desperate attempt to deprive New York City of the young, dynamic fighter that the Democrats desperately need, all because he's anti-genocide like the majority of the party's base. Disgusting. Anti-Semitism smears are not effective in the United States of America, especially, but they are, and I would go so far as to say that it didn't even work with Corbyn. But what it does do is gum up the works. If you have a campaign and you want to show your in the last round here, okay, right before the election, if you want to show your best foot forward, if you want to talk about your policies, if you're constantly battling anti-Semitism allegations, you're constantly on the back foot, and it's a time suck. It's a waste of energy. It's a waste of media space, and it will be the most it'll be the thing that you're remembered by. That is the way in which people use these vicious smears. Okay? The way this started was when Zohran went on the Bulwark show, which is run by rhinos. It wasn't supposed to be like a heated debate or anything like that. But Zohran went on Bulwark with Tim Miller and Cameron Kasky, friend of the show. Cameron Kasky invited him. Okay? Tim Miller on the show asked him about globalize the Intifada as a slogan. And also from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free as a slogan. He said these are scary anti-Semitic slogans. And ya biraz sesi kısın orada ama. Çok bağırıyor. Bilmiyorum. Okay. Tim Miller is a rhino. He's a never Trump Republican, whatever. So his response to that was the exact same response that I've given to these statements, right? He basically said something along the lines of, Intifada is an Arabic word, and that's what's scary about it. Globalize the Intifada means globalize the revolution, globalize the struggle. globalize the rebellion, right? And it's the Arabic, or globalize the uprising. It's the Arabic word for uprising. That's just what it is. And that is the reason why the Holocaust Museum in the past, when describing the Warsaw Ghetto uprising, when they translated to Arabic on their pages, called it the Warsaw Ghetto Intifada. Now, of course, the Holocaust Museum, which is so, what I'm about to describe to you is so disgusting in general, but the Holocaust Museum doesn't just educate people on the Holocaust. The Holocaust Museum's primary function now, beyond educating people on the Holocaust and the depravity of mankind and the banality of evil and how we got here, outside of that function, the Holocaust Museum also serves a secondary, perhaps more important role right now, which is to defend Israel. So the Holocaust Museum, somewhere along the way, I believe in like 2024, in the month of March 2024, after pressure from Zionist groups, changed the interpretation. The Arabic interpretation on their website used to say Warsaw Ghetto Intifada. They changed it to a different name. Ironically enough, the name that they changed it to is also is now even more radical. It's the name Hamas uses as well. But most people don't know that. Okay, most people are unfamiliar with that, so they changed it to a different Arabic name after they received pressure. Yeah, Mokawama. I'm not saying that correctly, but it means resistance, which is the M in Hamas. Okay, Mukawama. Harakat al-Mukawama al-Islamiyya is the full name of Hamas. Hamas is an acronym, for those of you who don't know. Okay, Harakat means movement, al-Mukawama al-Islamiyya, which means the Islamic resistance movement. Hamas is an acronym, for people that don't know. Okay? So ironically enough, the fucking Holocaust Museum literally changed it to seemingly a more radical interpretation. But the real reason why they did it is because people are just scared of Arabic words. But it's so difficult to have this conversation. It's so fucking difficult to have this conversation with people because they too have this fucking nascent Islamophobia and they don't want to address it and they don't want to talk about it. They don't want to think about it. So they'd rather behave like a racist person who was just called out for their racism. Everyone here that is not white or has some form of marginalization has experienced this before. When you call someone out for a form of bigotry that you have experienced, that person won't go, "Oh, my bad, I'm sorry. Let me check myself." They'll turn around and double down and be like, "You're the asshole for even fucking, bringing this up." You're the real villain for calling me a racist, not me for being racist. You're the villain for calling me a racist. This is how Islamophobia works. It's so prominent. It's such a prominent fixture of modern American politics that, you can go on The View and have a bunch of dumb fucks run around talking about how fucking, in Iran, women are not educated. And after all of those pathetic smears that really went nowhere, a reporter asked Zohran why he doesn't respond more aggressively when someone calls him an anti-Semite.
That there's no room for anti-Semitism in this city, in this country. And I've said that because that is something I personally believe. And ultimately, to your question of why not a more visceral reaction, part of it has been colored by the fact that when I speak, especially when I speak with emotion, I am then characterized by those same rivals as being a monster, as being at the gates. Language that describes almost a barbarian looking to dismantle civilization. And part of this is the very sad burden of what it means to be the first Muslim candidate to run for mayor, is to deal with dehumanizing language, to deal with a former governor who doesn't even view Muslims as being a part of this city sufficient that he would visit a mosque in the more than 10 years. And it pains me to be called an anti-Semite. It pains me to be painted as if I am somehow in opposition to the very Jewish New Yorkers that I know and love and that are such a key part of this city. And yet I know that when I share that emotion, I continue to face a language as if I am a beast. And it takes a toll to wake up in the morning and read messages that say things like, I get messages that say the only good Muslim is a dead Muslim. I get threats on my life. On the people that I love. And I try not to talk about it. Because the function of racism, as Toni Morrison said, is distraction.
Yeah. Also, this is an experience shared by every Muslim person, okay? I don't even fucking visibly look Muslim. And even I still fucking experience it. It's just every single person. A lighter version of this is when people automatically assume that I'm biased against Israel because I have anti-Semitic tendencies born out of being Muslim, because this conflict is always described in the most idiotic fucking terms in the United States of America, especially amongst morons, as a religious conflict that has gone on for thousands of years when it has nothing to do with fucking religion at all. It's just even non-Muslims who are just fucking brown have experienced a version of this. It's just another form of bigotry. Okay? And just like anti-black racism, people get more mad when you even call it out. So I think at this point, 20 plus years after 9/11, most American Muslims, most Muslims of the West don't fucking say anything about it, because it's like, what are you going to do? That's it. What are you going to do? That's just how it fucking is. It is what it is. That's just what it is. You just have to navigate this fucking space and eat it. Because if you spend a good deal of time trying to fucking talk about this and trying to get people to reconsider their stance, it's just, you create a wall. They just don't want to hear you out. And they would rather be left alone in the comfort of their bigotry, and they won't listen to you on other issues. That's how it is. So it saddens me to see this. It angers me to see this, but it's just how it is. Like consistently assuming that a fucking Muslim person who has done a good deal of activism against anti-Semitism, consistently claiming that a Muslim person who is a fighter against anti-Semitism, as well as all other bigotries alike, consistently peppering them with accusations of anti-Semitism, is Islamophobic. Really? Like, it's ridiculous. The idea that you're like trying to find the secret anti-Semitism that exists in the heart of this person is fucking ridiculous. It sucks. But it also works incredibly well in Western society, especially amongst people who themselves are anti-Semitic, but can much easily distract away from their own personal, actual anti-Semitic points of view by just being like, this is an Arab invention. Like, think about it. The highest form of this is the concept in Germany that anti-Semitism was imported into Germany by Arabs. Dog, in recent history, your country did the fucking Holocaust, man. What are you talking about? Arabs actually brought in anti-Semitism to Germany. What a laughable, idiotic, cope-induced statement to make.
Focus has always been on making this a city that's affordable, on making this a city that every New Yorker sees themselves in. And it takes a toll, because this is a city that every single person deserves to be in. It's a city that we all belong to. And the thing that's made me proudest in this campaign is that the strength of our movement is built on our ability to have built something across Jewish and Muslim New Yorkers, across New Yorkers of all faiths and all backgrounds and all boroughs. And anti-Semitism is such a real issue in this city. And it has been hard to see it weaponized by candidates who do not seem to have any sincere interest in tackling it, but rather in using it as a pretext to make political points.
Yeah. And of course, lo and behold, after these fucking ridiculous attacks, and also Brad Lander says some fucked up shit too. He used this as an opportunity to fucking shank Zohran too. Only a couple days after, they cross-endorsed one another. Brad Lander went on a spot on Pod Save America, and basically he was asked about the globalize the Intifada thing, and he responded with like, yeah, he said something along the lines basically of like, I don't think Zohran is an anti-Semite. Of course he's not. But of course, when he uses that term, it's scary for people like myself. Something along those lines. I mean, we can watch the full clip if you want. Brad Lander, to be fair, followed it up by saying he has full faith in Zohran. I know. Jacob Kornblue has the clip that was, of course, clip chimped. And I know Brad Lander doesn't think Zohran Mamdani is an anti-Semite. I know that.
Telling you.
Here, Brad Lander, who cross-endorsed Mamdani, says Jacob.
You know, when I hear the phrase globalize the Intifada, I say to people, I'm telling you, all I can hear right now is some Jews were killed in DC and there was a flamethrower in Boulder. And maybe you don't mean to be saying it's open season on Jews everywhere in the world, but that's what I hear. And I'd like to hear that from other people as well. At the same time, though I am a strong believer in the vision of Israel as a Jewish and democratic state, I hate what the war the Netanyahu government is conducting in Gaza. I have spoken up many times for a ceasefire, for aid getting in there, for an end to the occupation of the...
Yeah, bizarre caption. Lander has never agreed with Mamdani completely on Israel-Palestine. While he criticizes the one phrase, he explicitly defends Mamdani as a candidate for all New York Cityers, defends his endorsement of Mamdani, suggests that Cuomo is the real bigot on the race.
West Bank and Gaza for the human rights of Palestinians. And it's not the mayor of New York City's job, thank God, to try to achieve safety and, mutual self-determination between Israelis and Palestinians. But it is the mayor's job to show up and say, we're going to bring...
Anyway, I thought about not even covering this because it's so stupid, and giving it oxygen just furthers the fucking dynamic, furthers the back and forth.
Ranked Zohran
Brad Lander on why he ranked Zohran Mamdani
second. You saw him being attacked yesterday. How do you feel about him being sort of labeled as anti-Semitic and not sensitive to the feelings of Jewish New Yorkers?
Yeah, I've said this many times throughout the campaign, and I'll say it again. I am a proud Jewish New Yorker. Raising these beautiful Jewish kids in this city is one of the great joys of my life, and nobody will fight harder to keep this city.
I think Brad is a liberal Zionist. That's what it is. At the end of the day, he is a Zionist still. And I think he's a perfect demonstration of what I mean when I say, for a lot of these guys, it just bricks their brain. Israel is this final contradiction that they cannot resolve. Do I think Brad is a nice person? Absolutely. I do. I think he is, and I believe he believes he's a nice person. But definitionally, he is a nice person that either is deluded himself into thinking that this ethno-state project is actually one that could be done while maintaining liberal values, which is fucking ridiculous, or he just refuses to recognize it. He just refuses to recognize the supremacist, fascist, exterminationist ideology that is Zionism. Okay? Ultimately, it's just, there's not really anything you can do. There's no way to like resolve it.
Safe for Jewish families and for all families, then I will. I believe there's like a gatekeeping function of City Hall, which is decency and integrity. And Andrew Cuomo does not have decency and integrity and should not be allowed at City Hall. I believe that Zohran Mamdani is a person of decency and integrity, and I am therefore encouraging people to rank him number 2. We do not agree on everything about Israel and Palestine, but I do believe that he will protect Jewish New Yorkers and our rights, and I was proud to represent him. Sir.
Yeah. Anyway, in the aftermath of all this that unfolded, of course, okay, and for the record, if you want to know about why Trump names allies the Holocaust Museum Board after firing the Biden appointees, not that it matters because the Holocaust Museum actually changed the Intifada to I don't know how to the other Arabic word that is part of the Hamas acronym, Makawa. Okay. I don't speak Arabic, for those of you who don't know. They did that under the Biden administration. Yeah, they changed it to a more radical term, ironically enough. This seems to be in response to Zohran Mamdani saying the museum has used the word intifada when discussing the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising in Arabic. Per Wayback, looks like they used intifada, uprising, on their site till mid-2024 when they switched up to mukawama. Mukawamet. Which is wild. Because, like I said, Hamas is the acronym, and the M in Hamas is for Mukawama. 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 Anyway, Mokewame. Why did Tim Miller even ask that to him, by the way? Did he say that phrase at some point, or did he just want to stir the pot? I think he just wanted to stir the pot. Zohran being peppered with questions about anti-Semitism in Israel despite being ethnically Indian from Uganda, having no connection to any militant Muslim organization as racism, is no different than badgering a Jewish candidate about dual loyalty. Anyway, a hedge fund manager who used to be the CIO of Goldman Sachs and is allied with the number one funder of Andrew Cuomo's super PAC. Elijah Wiesel, son of renowned Holocaust survivor Elie Wiesel. I can't see into Zohran Mamdani's soul when he doubles down on saying that globalizing the Intifada is a good thing, blah, blah, blah. Again, not a lot of motion, right? Not a lot of motion for this stuff. No need for a lot of air that will engulf this fire, that will grow this fire, right? It's very stupid. But one thing that did happen, of course, is that predictably, since this became like a big news story, Zohran has been getting showered with death threats. And one of them was credible enough for the NYPD to actually launch a hate crimes investigation into the allegations that a man threatened to blow up mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani's car. Go ahead and start your car, see what happens, the man said in a voicemail left with his office that we obtained. Unsurprising to no one. He also made a beeper threat. The caller also advised Mamdani to check your beeper too, you terrorist fuck. Beep, beep. Can you guys think of another podcast that makes beeper jokes with regular frequency now? This blatant Islamophobia and violent threats against Zohran Mamdani are exacerbated by the racist smear campaigns funded by Cuomo's MAGA donors. This is vile. Zohran campaign responded to the NYPD investigation. A car bomb threat against Zohran Mamdani, among many others, he's referenced against him, family, staff. After multiple death threats and racist messages, Assembly member Mamdani's office is participating in an ongoing investigation by the NYPD's Hate Crimes Task Force. While Zohran does not own a car, the violent and specific language of what appears to be a repeat caller is alarming, and we are taking every precaution. While this is a sad reality, it is not surprising after millions of dollars have been spent on dehumanizing Islamophobic rhetoric designed to stoke division and hate. Violence and racism should have no place in our politics. Zohran remains focused on delivering a safe and affordable New York. Guy with a fucking beeper. Guy with a beeper in his Twitter bio responds with, it's obvious that this is a campaign stunt lie to deflect and distract from Zohran putting his whole foot in his mouth yesterday in his deranged accusations against the Holocaust Museum in defense of his virulent anti-Semitism. Follows you? I mean, is that shocking? Come on now. Mamdani, in a resurfaced 2021 video, urged activists to demand that local candidates support BDS. Speaking up for Israel comes with everything you might want, and we need to show that it's not that way anymore. There are consequences for speaking up in favor of apartheid. Yeah, what's the problem? Maybe people liked it because they liked what he had to say. Spoke to some New Yorkers today who unfortunately like Zohran and his policies, but see them as too good to be true, almost even without any real justification for why, and therefore view Lander as a safer choice with similar policies. What would you say to such voters? If every politician is going to say that they're going to give you 100% and basically at minimum give you 50%, why wouldn't you want someone like Zohran who promises 100% and will give you 50%, rather than Lander, who promises you 75% and will give you 25%. Also, Lander can't win. The safe choices is precisely how we got to the modern Democratic Party. Okay? Super easy answer. Rank Zohran, rank Lander first, Zohran second. No, fuck that. No, don't fucking do this bullshit either. No, rank Zohran first. Okay. What is this like? Oh, just rank Zohran second. Lander's not going to clear anyway. It doesn't matter. I know it's ranked choice, but still, rank him first. It's bullshit. Yeah, Blake also rat fucked Zohran too, which was shocking because I thought he was like one of the more radical candidates. But yeah, that's my